Welcome to NFL Live. We are just about 4 hours away from the start of Week 2 in the NFL. Browns hosting the Bengals for the Battle of Ohio. You are looking at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. What does Baker Mayfield do tonight to bounce back as pressure mounts? Why one person here thinks his job could be on the line. That in moments. Dan Orlovsky's here wearing something that looks white, and I think we're getting close to fall. And we've got Keyshawn Johnson, Marcus Spears also, and Adam Schefter. Dan, I really do like your jacket. Adam, let's get to you right away. Tonight's game is where we start, beginning with the health of Browns wide receiver Jarvis Landry.
He's listed as questionable with a hip injury, Laura. I'm told he's going to play. The Browns are confident, even though he didn't go through practice this week, that he'll be out there. Now, there is a question about their offensive linemen. They've got 4 offensive linemen listed as questionable for tonight. They will not know until the pregame about whether or not they play. As for the Bengals, you've got a situation where they got Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr., and there's some questions about them connecting. So some issues there. We'll see if they can get that ironed out for Thursday night's game tonight.
Yeah, and no doubt all eyes on Baker Mayfield tonight. I do want to point out, though, that he's never been one to back down when he's been backed up against the wall. You can't count him out. Some of his best performances have come when the outside noise was the loudest. Our NFL reporter Kimberly Martin will also be joining us later for some insight into Baker and much more ahead of this one. Baker's struggles extend well past just week 1 of this season. Since the start of last season, Mayfield has recorded the worst touchdown to interception ratio in the NFL with a minimum of 10 starts. And as you can see, 3 of the 5 quarterbacks on this list no longer starters in the league. So Marcus, let's get right to it. How would you describe the importance of this game tonight for Baker Mayfield?
I think the importance of it is his future is on the line as far as being the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Listen, this is a rookie in Joe Burrow, his second game in the NFL. We're working on 3 years now with Baker Mayfield of the highs and lows. If Joe Burrow outperforms Baker Mayfield in this game tonight, I'm not talking about a win or loss, Els. I'm talking about outperforms him, and the direction of the Bengals looks like it's trending way better than the one we've seen in Cleveland as this story is unfolding. Cleveland is going to have to start thinking about who their next quarterback is going to be moving forward in the future. This ain't a project anymore. It's been trades made. It's been elite players come into that organization as far as putting people around him defensively and offensively. A new head coach that's supposed to install a system that you thrive and have success in. If you fall to be the 4th best quarterback in this division with Lamar Jackson, Ben Roethlisberger, and now Joe Burrow, that's an indictment on you, and people are going to have to start looking at who the future is in Cleveland.
I think it's a little too early for that, Marcus. When you look at the situation, they bring Kevin Stefanski in to get this young quarterback going. They've only been together probably, 40 days or so, guys. I mean, it's not even, they haven't really even been together. They played 1 game. This is their 2nd game tonight. There's no way that Andrew Berry, the general manager, is coming in to get rid of Baker Mayfield anytime soon. Now, if we're talking in week 13, they may start to say, he's just not getting some of the things that we want him to get, Dan. And at playing the quarterback position, it's very tough to learn a new system. I think this is his 4th system, at least his 4th guy in his ear calling plays. It's very, very hard to learn that way.
Well, and it's been very tumultuous for him with the Browns, even last year and even a little bit before that. Dan, what can he do tonight to sort of get this ship righted, and the naysayers out there who may say that things need to change?
Yeah, there's a couple things on tape of, what has to change and how it has to change tonight for Baker Mayfield. The first thing I want to show everybody is the interception that started the game. And I'm going to play it from full and just watch Calais Campbell. He's the dropping defensive tackle. He's going to be the guy that gets his hands on this football and leads to the interception. But I'll go back to the beginning and kind of explain what happens. All right, first of all, what's the defense? This safety's going to go back, and that safety's going to go back. It's going to be a too-high defense for Baltimore. Now it's going to be a zone pressure where this guy drops, this defender drops, and again, that's Calais Campbell. So they're all going to drop out versus this pressure. This guy's a blitzer, and that guy's a blitzer. Now this outside linebacker, Judon, he's going to carry the tight end. He's in coverage. So that's the defense. A too-high defense matters on this play. Now, what's the play for Baker Mayfield? Okay, the play is a very traditional play. It's called lion in the NFL. 1-step slant by that tight end, and then this receiver off screen, he's got a 3-step slant as well. Now, why does that matter? Because 3-step timing in the progression, it's number 1 to number 2. Three-step timing in the gun. Now we take our eyes to Baker Mayfield's feet, and I want everyone to see this. Camera, when you see Baker Mayfield's feet, left foot forward in three-step timing, what he should do is just catch the ball and really what's known as a kick step. Just a little hop, 6 inches, because I'm ready, because the ball has to get out. I want everyone to see Baker Mayfield on this play, because in three-step timing with that kick step, his foot would go from that hash mark to about 6 inches. Back there, again, the ball has to come out. Watch what Baker does. That ball is now, he is late. He is 2 feet, or 2 yards, deeper than he should be. Calais Campbell's already got vision on him. This receiver's ready for the football. Baker Mayfield's late. When you're late, the ball gets picked. Little thing becomes a big thing. Now let's talk about the play action pass that I talked about all offseason and what it was going to do. It was going to create throwing windows for Baker Mayfield. Here's the progression. Odell Beckham up top is going to run a shake route, and then Jarvis Landry's got a shallow cross right here. The progression is number 1 to number 2. Very simple for Baker Mayfield. You're going to see play action pass. Perfect execution. Now look at Baker at the top of this drop. Baker at the top of this drop right now looks like he needs to escape from this pocket. This does not look like a quarterback that is going to step up into this pocket, read number 1 to number 2, and execute this offense. He's already bailing. He's already bailing on this progression. Look at this offensive line blocking. You're secured and you're secured. Baker should have plenty ability to get up in that pocket, plenty ability to see through this window right here to Odell Beckham, to Jarvis Landry, but he bails right away. Doesn't even put his back foot in the ground, just bails and escapes. That is something that Baker Mayfield needs to show tonight. What needs to get better tonight? Baker Mayfield needs to do the little things, because the little things will become the big things. And then he needs to trust that protection and go through the progressions, because it'll create rhythm for their offense. And I would say this, as important as a win tonight for the Browns is seeing Baker Mayfield get better at those little things.
Yeah. I would say, too, he's got to take care of the football. In fact, he's thrown an interception in 7 straight games. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. We're all over this game and so much more as NFL Live continues today. On the same day, the NFL turns 100 years old. Showtime Mahomes turns 25. In just 4 seasons, Patrick Mahomes has dazzled us. We'll take a look back at some of his best plays in celebration of his birthday. 2 of the last 3 Heisman winners squaring off tonight in Ohio. Can Joe Burrow get his first NFL win in primetime, or will Baker rewrite his woes in Cleveland? I'll try not to sound like Elmer Fudd for the rest of the show. We're so glad you're with us on NFL Live, and we'll be right back. Okay, so much fun. That feature airing on NFL Countdown this weekend. Shefty, what was it like to get scooped by an amateur? How much fun did you have filming that feature?
Katie Camlin did a great job. We did a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with that feature. It'll run Sunday, Laura, and I think people who see it will enjoy it.
We cannot wait. Let's get to some more news around the league, and let's start Carson Wentz, who had a Jekyll and Hyde performance week 1 in the Eagles' loss to Washington. He was throwing dimes in the first half, completing 14 of his first 18 passes for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns. Things went downhill after that, with Washington's D-line sacking Wentz 8 times. This week he gets Aaron Donald. He's talking about it.
Aaron Donald is he's a monster. Everyone knows it. Everyone around the league knows the type of player he is and how he can really disrupt an offensive game plan. You know, we're aware of that. We're aware. Somebody we got to always know where he is. I mean, he's a game wrecker, and if you let it happen. So we just got to be smart with how we handle that.
We're laughing because we're watching Aaron Donald footage there, and it's just unreal. Aaron Donald, Dan, double-teamed on 32 of his pass rushes week 1. That's the most in the NFL. Despite that, he still recorded 5 pressures, tied for 3rd most in the league. What do Wentz and the Eagles need to do this week to get a win against that Rams defense?
Yeah, learn from last week and then learn from last year, and do not keep Carson Wentz in the pocket. Last year when they were going through injuries, a big focus point was to get him outside of that pocket with designed bootlegs. Whether you're in your gun, this is a naked where you got no out in front of you, but you can put him on the edge. This one is a bootleg where he's got some blocking out in front, but you're changing where he's throwing the football from. You're getting him away from those defensive linemen. We see it all the time last year. Again, protection, but you're changing the launch point. You're changing the spot where he's going to throw from. So I would start with never dropping Carson Wentz back in the first quarter of this football game. I would have 15 designed rollouts, all of them away from Aaron Donald, and make sure that you don't allow what happened last week to repeat this week.
Yo, I hear the theme song from Freddy Krueger. I hear it from Michael Myers. I hear all of these things. When Carson Wentz says he's a monster, it means you can run, but you cannot hide. And that's what Aaron Donald is, an absolute monster. They are going to move him all over the line of scrimmage to find matchups, one-on-ones, to try to dissect where you're going to take your quarterback. Look, we keep having this discussion about the Dak Prescott on the shallow crosser. Let me show you guys why that was a bad pass, why everybody talks about it. Look at number 99 on this play. That's why it's a bad pass. The quarterback cannot step up. He doesn't have room to throw the football. This is the disruption. This is the not going into the sack category, and everybody talking about, well, his sacks was down. Go turn on Aaron Donald tape. I watched every clip of him last year. He affects literally 80% of offensive plays in some way. The guys around him are better for being around him. He'll find Carson Wentz, D.O., as much as Philly is going to try to move him around.
Yeah, and Key, speaking of tape, the Rams can watch tape on exactly how Washington got to Wentz. What sticks out about how they should game plan against the Eagles quarterback specifically?
Well, they just got to go get him. And we talking about Aaron Donald, right? But you still got to think about Brockers. You still got to think about Sebastian, Joseph Day, those sort of guys. And Aaron Donald creates so much havoc on the defensive line to free other people up. Yes, you can move him around, much like Marcus said, but you got to be Carson Wentz. Got to get the ball out quick.
Right.
You got to, like you said, lion, 3-step drops. So get to some sort of West Coast terminology. Put him on the roll, 218s, things like that will help him get away from Aaron Donald. If they don't do that, all the Rams are going to do is dial up what Washington did. It's a copycat league.
Right.
They're going to come and get him. You look at the second half and what Washington was able to do to negate that passing game, that's all the Rams going to do.
It's going to be
not that hard.
It'll be interesting because that's the kind of the chess game between coaching, right?
Yeah.
Like if I want to make sure that I'm going away from Aaron Donald as an offense, can I formation to make sure he's in certain places? But the Rams aren't stupid either.
Yeah, but you can do that, but then you got to account for other people.
Yeah.
For sure. It's going to be the game.
That's what happens when you got Aaron Donald on your defense. We got breaking news right now on NFL Live. Let's go to Adam Schefter for that.
All right, Laura, Chargers center Mike Pouncey is going to undergo hip surgery later this month. He's going to miss the rest of the season. The Chargers have put him on IR today. He will not play again this year. You think about all the injuries that they've been through this offseason, this summer. Derwin James suffers the season-ending knee injury in training camp. And now Mike Pouncey, who thought he would be able to bounce back from this injury after about a month or so, is going to have hip surgery, and he is officially out for the year.
So tough to hear there. Marcus, what's your reaction to hearing about Pouncey, another injury for these Chargers?
Well, you look at the importance of the position. That's the first thing that comes to mind, continuity. Yeah. This offensive line having a tremendous amount of success is based on communication, and it starts with that guy and the quarterback. So it's just a devastating loss. Tyrod Taylor's job just got a lot more difficult. But this is the league, unfortunately. We talked about this in Dallas when Travis Frederick left that team. Communication, to me, though, fellas, is the biggest part that you'll miss from Pouncey. We already know he's a really good player.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because Tyrod Taylor, obviously the starter there, but you wondered if you would see Justin Herbert this year. Now that feels less and less likely. It's the Battle of Ohio tonight as the Bengals take on the Browns, but it's also a matchup between former #1 overall draft picks, Baker versus Burrow. Who comes out on top? We're picking the game coming up on NFL Live. We'll be right back. And as we head to break, Bill Belichick pretty chatty with the media today. Here he is with a special birthday shout out to Pete Carroll.
Also want to wish Pete a belated